You expect me to believe you guys are characters from my video game? It's more than just a game!
Listen carefully. Everything that happens in the Biotic Wars is real. The biotics, the wars, everything. The game is a recruitment and training tool sent back in time to find the one person with the skills to save us.
That's The Last Starfighter. It's the exact same plot as the movie.
What's a movie?
We are talking Futturman. This is a 13-part kind of action comedy sci-fi series playing on Hulu. Stars Josh Hutcherson, who you may know from The Hunger Games. He was the Peter character. Derek Wilson and Eliza Coupe, who I loved in the comedy series Happy Endings. So the story here is very similar to the movie Last Starfighter, mixed in with Quantum Leap. In fact, they actually give that exact reference in the TV show. So it's a kind of somewhat kind of meta, in-joke, pop culture heavy series. The story here essentially is we follow this character called Josh, played by Josh Hutcherson, and he is just kind of a bit of a kind of a nerd essentially. He just is into video games, has a job as a janitor, pretty much going nowhere, and he obviously wants to beat this particular video game which has never been beaten. And of course, just like Last Starfighter, this video game is actually a recruitment tool from this kind of these future soldiers to try and find the kind of the saviour to do, you know, to save humanity from this incoming fate, this kind of virus which turns people into kind of somewhat strange people, shall we say. They come back in time, obviously, try to recruit them and go on various misadventures, hopping through different time zones and getting into trouble with a variety of different characters. So what do we think of Futturman? Let's get any negatives out of the way first of all, because I'm going to be honest with you, there isn't many, so we'll just kind of nip them in the bud. I feel this main criticism I feel is going to be more of a taste thing. Some people won't like the kind of the winking, not quite serious kind of tone for this series. I personally loved it, but I feel it may put some people off. This is the kind of the tone of this kind of series. It doesn't take itself particularly seriously and doesn't kind of have. It's not hard sci-fi in the fact that obviously people here aren't too worried about things like butterfly effects, although that does actually become part of a plot point, but the actual characters don't seem to be caring about it too much. Things like that, so pure kind of like sci-fi purists may be put off by some of the kind of the more comedic elements here. And the only other thing I would say is there's just a couple of times I feel the story lags just here and there. But let's go on to the good stuff, because this series is great. I absolutely loved it. I mean, I'd seen the trailer for it, and I kind of liked The Last Starfighter. It's actually one of my kind of favourite kind of sci-fi films, and obviously I think that movie is great for a remake, and this is kind of the closest thing we've got to it, really. So I love the premise, first of all. I really enjoyed Eliza Coupe in Happy Endings. I thought she had great comedic timing, and I was glad to see her in another series. And she really embraced this role of this angry kind of warrior woman sent back in time with her kind of partner Wolf, played by Derek Wilson, who I've got to be honest, I was less keen on first of all, but he, you know, by the end of this series, I totally loved his character as this kind of gruff warrior type, but who has hidden depth, shall we say. Now the thing I think of this series is that you can probably kind of write it off when you look at it as a kind of like popcorny, you know, fun show that doesn't really have any depth to it. But this series does actually have quite hidden depth in a couple of ways. First, the actual characters have real arcs in this series. You do see them, all of them really go through all sorts of different arcs, go through highs and lows, and kind of they change as characters and obviously evolve. So that was fantastic. And it actually does some quite clever things here. There's one episode in particular that actually kind of almost creates a counter-argument to the kind of the modus operandi, the good guys and things, and gives you maybe an alternative that you think, oh man, you know, maybe it's not quite as black and white, and things like that. Obviously, it kind of deals with a variety of different kind of consequences that are made through changing stuff in the past. You have lots of kind of fun going to various different 2017s and things like that. It is so pop culture heavy here. This series will really appeal to you if you are a genre film fan, because there's so much to you know, to see here, from the very overt, you know, kind of parodies and kind of references to kind of subtle things like the dingo ate my baby joke and stuff like that. So, you know, films that you've probably quite forgotten about this point and subtle references, you know, you can pick up if you're a cinema fan. But I thought the actual humour here, if you like the you know, popular culture movies, sci-fi movies, you'll love it. I will say I was surprised how graphic this series is as well. There's considerable drug use in this. There's nakedness, both male and female, a lot of violence, lots of swearing. So it's very much, even though the premise seems kind of quite kind of light-hearted and stuff, it actually is pretty. It's kind of like Deadpool, I would say. It's like a kind of sci-fi action comedy Deadpool series is the best way I can describe it. I mean, it's not doesn't walk, but it's one of the nearest comparisons. I would say Last Starfighter meets Quantum Leap meets Deadpool. There you go. So it's such a fun series. The comic timing here is brilliant. Like I said, the character of Wolf and Tiger, played by Eliza Coupe, their comic timing is so good. It is so funny. I mean, comedy is subjective, but, you know, I can only speak to my personal tastes, but I found 90% of these jokes hit. And I thought the characters' reactions to stuff, the kind of the way they sold the kind of the moments, and there are dramatic moments as well. It's not a complete, you know, farcical series the whole way through, but there are plenty of comedic moments mixed in with kind of real moments of great action set pieces. You know, some real kind of drama, some real stakes that are involved in this series as well. If you are a science fiction fan and you'd like to have a bit of a laugh, this series is perfect for you. I feel it gets overshadowed by, you know, the kind of like the franchise stuff is just kind of built on an existing property. And I know we've just had like the Runaways and stuff like that. But trust me on this one, if you watch this channel, I pretty much guarantee you'll like this series. So go and check out Futturman. I'm going to give it a solid 8 out of 10. It is a decent show, well worth a watch. Can't wait to see more of it. 8 out of 10. If you've seen it, what did you think of it? Leave them a comment and I'll look forward to you next time. Bye for now.